So one of the biggest questions I get is, how do I price my learning product or program? What should I be charging for it? And this is a big one that needs to be answered. Now, first of all, we're going to look at the traffic light system, which basically means, are your leads warm, cold, hot, ready to go? Now, we've talked about that when it comes to funnels. If they are a strong lead or prospect, if they have bought something from you, even albeit $1, if they've maybe had a strategy call and they seem interested but haven't made that leap of paying yet, then you're looking at a warm customer. This means that you could be selling your sort of medium to higher end programs to those already paying people. If you've got customers that are on the cold end that haven't bought anything from you yet, they may have only just met you or they've only seen a few things from you, then they're at the colder end. They need to be at the lower price product end. You need to be promoting those free or very cheap services to those particular people. Now, obviously you can promote your higher end stuff to them, but you're more likely to get the leads when you're building people up from cold, warm to hot, low pricing, medium pricing, and higher pricing. So what should this pricing be? Now, the first thing I really need to say to you is this completely depends on what you're teaching, completely depends on your topic in your industry, it completely depends on your own authority positioning, but also on a very clear comparative analysis on what other people in your industry are charging for the same type of courses. So we are going to talk about planning and research in some of the next sections of this online course, but I would highly recommend that first of all, you go into Udemy and type in your topic or your theme or your industry or category and see what comes up and simply compare what is included in other people's courses, how many modules, how long are those modules, how many hours or minutes of teaching overall are in there, what kind of topics are in there. That will give you a really good starting point as to what type of price you're going to be able to sell this for. If you're looking at charging $500 for something that everyone else is selling for $50, you either have to create something a hell of a lot more valuable than what's out there in order to justify charging that, or you need to do yourself a favor, don't work quite so hard and produce something of a similar quality to what everyone else is selling for that. So let's now look at the way that you can justify the sort of pricing that you're charging. And this is the real difference between low-end programs and high-end programs. So our lower end programs start with what I call information type learning products or programs. Now think of a book. Now with a book, it's got great information in it, but you can't really sell a book for much more than about $30. I mean, that's roughly what books sell for. So this is where we're talking low-end stuff. It's information. We live in an information generation now, guys. People can go online, they can research whatever they want, they can find videos on YouTube. So if it's just info, don't try and sell it for too much, because that's when you're going to have disappointed customers who go, well, I could have just looked online for that and got it for free. That's when you're going to have people asking for refunds. So information, low price. We then move up. Our next stage up from there, which is slightly higher in price, is when you're providing implementation. It's basically when you provide people with the strategies and the steps or the techniques that they need to use to actually implement, to do the advice or information that you've provided. So that's why it's the next step up from the information stage. So does your course provide step-by-step information in some way? That means you can be charging more than basic information products can. The next one up from that is what I call transformation. Now this is when your course in some way helps people to move from one situation to another situation in a positive way, preferably. This is when, can you prove or find a way of measuring that your course is going to make somebody's life better, somebody's business better, somebody's skills more advanced? If your course can actually create a transformation in the way people experience themselves, their lives, their attitudes, their behaviors, their knowledge, whatever, if you take their circumstance from A to B, this is when you can really be charging the higher dollars, the higher end dollar value for your particular course. So if you want to charge more, how are you going to transform people's lives and situations and circumstances? So our next one we have is what I call the do it for you services. This is when people say, look, yeah, I need this stuff done. It's all very interesting, but quite frankly, I don't want to know about it. Just do it for me. Now, we've certainly had customers who are experts in their field. They're authors. They might be thought leaders in their particular industry. And they've just gone, look, here's all my stuff. Can you just make me a course? So this is where we have the do it for you. What is it that you can do? What services do you have that are do it for them type services? This is where you can charge a lot more money. For instance, it might be that you build websites. It might be that you teach on blogging, but you have a we write blogs for you service. It might be that you, like I say, you teach people about how to use online software. And you have a do-it-for-you service, which is we will build your software for you, or we will upload and tailor your software for you. I'm not a software person, bad example. But hopefully you can see there what I mean by that. And then finally, at the real top end, I have the do-it-with-you services. Now, this is how I like to describe this funnel. I like to look at it like a cookbook. Now, we've all probably got those cookbooks on our kitchen at home, which are probably collecting dust if they're anything like mine. Now, the thing about cookbooks is that, particularly the celebrity ones, is that in those cookbooks it has all the information we need about how to cook those particular dishes. It also has the implementation. It tells us exactly what steps to take. It tells us exactly what ingredients to use, how to mix it, how to bake it, how long to bake it for, how to know when it's ready. You name it, it tells us exactly how to implement that information to create an end result. They enable transformation because, for instance, if we have a healthy cookbook and we follow the principles and instructions in that book and we implement it into our lives, over a period of time, it can transform our health, it can transform our appearance, it can transform our mental ability to cope better with our lives. It also, then we have the opportunity to have it done for us. We, for instance, put that recipe book up on the shelf, but we still go to the restaurant and we still get takeaways. Now, heading out to a restaurant is obviously a lot more expensive because we're getting somebody to cook for us. It's a lot more expensive than going to the shops and cooking something for ourselves. The do it with you service is when I phone up Gordon Ramsay himself and he actually comes into my kitchen and he teaches me how to use the ingredients. He cuts everything up with me. He mixes and stirs and boils with me. He bakes with me. And then he sits down with me, holds my hand, cheerses my glass of red wine, and eats the dish with me. This is the highest end service because this is the part where you will actually be exchanging your time for money. This is when you'll actually be sitting down with your customer one-on-one, or at least your business, and helping them through whatever it is they want to do with you. So look at what your course or program does. What components of these does it include? And this will give you some really good guidance as to what you should actually be charging for your particular learning product and program. Hope that helps.